Chris Mackowski for Emerging Civil War. I am here in Knoxville, Tennessee with my friend Jim Doncaster of the Knoxville Civil War Roundtable. And Jim is showing me around what's left of the Knoxville battlefield. So thanks for being out here with us today.
Absolutely, Chris. Enjoying it immensely. It's good to have you here.
It is delightful for me. Brand new battlefield for me, so it's been a real cool opportunity to be out here exploring. Let's set the stage for the Knoxville campaign for folks, Jim.
Okay.
We've got Ambrose Burnside, who's best known in the East for the Battle of Fredericksburg. We've got James Longstreet, who's probably best known in the East for being Lee's old warhorse with the Army of the Virginia. And we find these Eastern commanders out here now in East Tennessee. That seems like a strange place for these guys to be.
Yeah, it's interesting that Army of the Potomac and the Army of Northern Virginia meet here in Knoxville. Knoxville, just to give you some context, was largely a Union sympathy city. East Tennessee, when Tennessee seceded from the Union, tried to secede from Tennessee, just as West Virginia had from Virginia. They did not have the advantage of having Union states around them yeah, exactly. So they were not able to pull it off. The Confederates immediately moved in an army of occupation into East Tennessee to seize it and held Knoxville for the first 2 years of the war. It wasn't until Kirby Smith was called by Bragg to join him as he fell back towards Chattanooga. It was actually before that and before Chickamauga that Kirby Smith left here, and Ambrose Burnside moved into Knoxville from Kentucky unopposed.
And Burnside moves into pre-existing Confederate fortifications.
Yeah, very rudimentary fortifications. Because East Tennessee was not under threat, the Confederates, while based here, did not build extensive fortifications. There were 4 forts that they built, basically simple earthworks that were greatly expanded upon by Orlando Poe, Burnside's engineering officer, when the Federals moved in here. Burnside, by the way, was responsible for all of East Tennessee. While he moved in here in early September, he moved out again and moved down the Tennessee River towards Chattanooga. There were forts scattered between here and about down towards Philadelphia, Tennessee, occupied by the Federals. It was when Longstreet had been broken off from Bragg in that star-crossed plan.
Longstreet down helping out at Chickamauga, doesn't get along well with Bragg, and so the opportunity arrives for Bragg to send Longstreet on an independent mission, and he's glad to get rid of Longstreet.
He is, and Longstreet is glad to be rid of Bragg and glad to have an independent command. So up he comes, but because of the a great slowdown due to some factors beyond his control, really, Chris. He takes a long time getting up here. And meanwhile, Grant is in communication with Burnside, and Grant is delighted to see Longstreet and 22,000 men, the 17,000 that he brings up this side of the river, and the 5,000 under Wheeler that he sends on the south side of the river.
So he split his forces.
He split his forces, and of course Bragg split his forces that were invested at Chattanooga, and Grant is delighted and communicates via telegraph to Burnside, draw him on, just keep drawing him up. This is setting the stage for Grant's breakout. Burnside's challenge is to draw him up and keep him moving this direction without being gobbled up himself.
Because he's only got, you mentioned
he's got 5,000 men out here in the field between Knoxville and Longstreet. Now he's got more men in Knoxville. It turns out that there are about 17,000 men ultimately in Knoxville on the Union side.
So fairly evenly matched then, the two forces.
Longstreet's got him outmanned because Wheeler rejoins Longstreet here, and then so he's got about 22,000 men. But because of Burnside's defensive works, it is pretty evenly matched.
So we're going to investigate and explore what's left of this battlefield here over a couple of videos. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the spot where we're at right now called Bleak House. I'm Chris Mackowski, Jim Doncaster with the Knoxville Civil War Roundtable. We're here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Thanks for being with us.